You want to advance your career, you want to break into the medical device field, you need to network. It is one of the hardest things that people cannot really explain, but it's basically just growing your network so people can present opportunities to you. If you're trying to break in, this video is going to talk about strategies and how to network appropriately, and it starts with you changing your mindset. Networking is important not just for breaking in, but once you're in a given field like medical device, building a network of peers, but also vertically above you, directors, vice presidents, is going to help you immensely. You're going to be presented with new opportunities, new career paths, and they're going to pull you up so that you are successful. It took me a long time to realize this. Merit is important, the ability to lead is important, but a lot of times relationships and the network is equally there. Now, how do you go about networking? It's hard, it's difficult, it reminds me of being ghosted. You reach out to people, and it really starts with kind of your applications, right? You're sending applications to everyone, no one is responding. So networking is going to help your applications get read and you in the room to interview. How do you go about networking? Like I said, you could reach out to people on LinkedIn, you could look at your undergrad alumni sites, you could connect with your personal friends or parents to see if they have anyone in their network that's willing to talk to you. And a lot of times, the mindset is, what can I extract from these people at the jobs I want? But really, we need to switch it to think about, how can I make this conversation beneficial for both of us and what value I can bring to the person that I'm seeking? And I commonly hear this all the time of what value can I bring to someone? And I want to be honest, if you're an undergrad, there's really not much value you can bring. Unless you told me you have $1 million and you're looking to invest in real estate, you have your dad's a doctor and he's looking to work with Matt. That's, for me, that's value. But you got to realize what I enjoy is connecting with people and sharing about my experience. That is more fulfilling. If I'm looking for value, I'm going to go find that on my own. So with networking, I think that mindset of bringing value is important. It might be a little antiquated and something to think about. But for me, bringing value as someone looking to connect and network with someone, to me, what that means is being prepared and have done research. The value you're bringing in that conversation is this. When we meet and we start talking about the medical device field, we could have a more advanced conversation because you did the preliminary research. You looked at what medical device is, you watched some of my videos, you connected with people. So when we connect, and you know that I enjoy these fulfilling conversations and shedding light on how amazing the medical device field is, we can have a more robust conversation opposed to, saying something not bringing value would be, hey, Matt, can you get me a job in Atlanta? And on the call, I'd be like, I'm not in Atlanta. I don't know what job you want. I don't even know who you are. So you want me to vouch for you to some person when I don't know anything. Where a better conversation would be, Matt, I watched some of your videos. I'm trying to break into cardiology. I saw that you were in TAVR and pacing. I'm thinking pacing because of my background. I'm curious, what are your thoughts for me to apply? Right now, I do have an interview. I want to talk about that and break out. In that conversation, that is more helpful for both you and I. You're bringing value because you did the work before, and then you can leverage the value I have, which is my expertise and suggestions. I'm by no means an expert. So we talked a little bit about networking. I think it's extremely important, not just to break into medical device, but to move your career up. And I'm going to give you a very concrete example of why I think it's important. My team's looking to hire a clinical specialist. We're going to bring someone on. The job post, everyone applies, and then we hire someone. Typically, the manager knows that they're going to post that role, and if you're networked in, you're going to get some idea of when it's going to post and some informal interviews before to narrow down the list. If you're applying blind, you're going to be in trouble. If you get a syndicated referral, you're going to put your resume to the top, and if you network with the hiring manager, you are going to have conversations before that role is even posted. In old videos, I talked about if you reach out to someone at a company and they do refer you, typically, if you are offered and signed the job, the person that referred you would receive a spiff, a few $1,000s for their referral. Now, how do we go about networking? It's not that hard. It's whatever you want to do. So let's talk about some easiest. LinkedIn, that's one of the premier professional networking sites. You can message people directly. That is one method. You're going to send a lot of messages out that probably are not responded. So think about how to craft your message. Ask for something very specific. 10 minutes, coffee, phone call to talk about the interview process for Medtronic or something like that. Really vague messages I feel like are not responded to. Easiest case right there. What if you are really wanting to talk to someone but you can't get a message to them? Can you look at their background, maybe where they studied, where they're at work, or see if there's any mutual connections? Hey, Matt, I saw you're friends with person B. Any chance you can introduce me? This is what I want. I want to connect with this person to talk 5 minutes about how they navigated engineering to sales. I know it's a big ask. And most of the time, people would be happy to connect. Outside of LinkedIn, there's meetups. There's the Lobby Network, which is doing in-person networking. There's your alumni networks, be it if you were in Greek life, to the clubs, to the general campus alumni network. Typically, campuses have professional services for helping and assisting you post-college, be it looking at your resume, prepping you for interviews, and a Rolodex of alumni that are willing to help. And those are captive audience because people that put their name into like for example, UCLA's mentorship program or available to network, those people are interested in helping out, opposed to on LinkedIn, which is great, you're reaching out cold to a lot of people. I would also look at where your friends are at from high school. Maybe there's someone from there that could connect you, and just your general network. You have to get creative. It's kind of like a little game of how can I connect to this person, and then how can I bring value to this conversation. I would take a numbers approach, reach out to a lot of people, the people that you think could really move your career, then get really creative of how you could deliver value, find time, and connect with them. Always follow up with a thank you. And then the biggest thing is understanding that what happened today is going to be long term. A lot of people think, oh, I'll network with Matt and he'll get me a job next week. That is not the case. Companies move slow and hiring processes move slow. And when you reach out to someone, be it me or someone, there probably isn't a job available. But if you develop a strategy to follow up every month, 2 months, that would be amazing because you're going to remind me, oh, we had a great conversation together. Holy smokes, it's been 5 months, a job's posting. This person's a great candidate. I'm going to let them know. So delivering sustainable long-term value in that relationship is important, but you have to make it genuine. Don't always just ask one-sided and deliver, but mention things that you're doing, things you're pursuing to grow your career, interesting articles you found, and try to establish a relationship. With networking, I try to avoid a CRM and reducing it down to some kind of utilitarian approach of how am I managing my relationships. But do think about your network or your phone and try to maintain your network over time, especially with the people that you think can really impact your career. I talked a lot about cold networking to kind of break in. The networking internally to advance your career is finding ways and finding the right people within the companies to connect to. And it's going to be a little bit different because in these cases you can add value. If I'm a sales rep and I'm trying to connect with a VP or a director, there's my experience and my perspective that I could bring and build those conversations, and I could see them when they come out to my territory at the national meetings, but I need to proactively set up time to meet with them. It's difficult, they're busy, you get a 5-minute Zoom call and it's really hard to kind of establish yourself. Networking is like a second job, and it's going to reap benefits if you put the time in. Develop genuine relationships, don't be too pushy, and remember that these relationships are long-term, especially in medical device. I've said this so many times that it's such a small field that the people you know today are going to be your colleagues and your leaders in the future. So let's wrap it up. This is my generic how-to guide to network. I talked a little bit about if you're undergrad or trying to break into medical device, a little bit of a different approach versus if you're within the company. I really focus on trying to break in. The big thing is everyone talks about a value-based approach, and I think that's a little bit of a misnomer. How much value can you bring? It's a question that only you could answer, but I think what I think it means is when you meet with people, you're not asking silly questions. And what that means is you're coming prepared to these interviews, you're respecting that person's time who offered to connect with you, and you have a general idea and you have a specific ask. You have something specifically you want to know. I'm happy to connect to family, friends, or friends that are just trying to learn about medical device and share my experience. But what I enjoy more is someone comes engaged and they say specifically, this is what I want, this is what I've done to prepare, what are your thoughts? The big thing with networking is, it's not a one-time ask. I really believe that you have to find a way to make it sustainable, and it's hard, it's difficult. I understand that, I acknowledge that. So this is Medical Device Matt. This is a high level, just networking video. It can reap benefits for breaking in, for your career in medical device, or really any career. As you know, birds of a feather flock together. You want to be around your people, and those people are going to accelerate your career more than, I would say, merit, which I hate to say that, but I do think it's true. I'm a big merit person, but relationship in your network is really your net worth. Take care. This is Medical Device Matt. Stay tuned for future episodes. We're growing fast, so you want to hop on now.